You literally cannot make this type of stuff up. Like if you made it up, people be like, haha, yeah, but that would never happen. No, this happened. A woman sent her son, who was 12, and autistic. So she sends her autistic son to a law enforcement run tennis program. And she did this to try to teach him a positive attitude towards cops. First off, her uncle is a cop. Don't know how close they are, if they live in the same town, but that's her uncle. Her uncle's a cop. And she said that with everything that's on TV, you know, George Floyd getting killed, Tamir Rice getting killed, um, Eric Garner getting choked to death on the street, all these cops, the guy, the one who shot the kid who was eating a hamburger, um, all these police police caused deaths and such, she thought was projecting negativity about these cops. So she wanted to have a different type of story here for her son. Hey, cops aren't that bad. you know, no, cops are good. That is literally the worst thing you could teach your kid, but she was trying to do it anyway. Cops are good. So she says, "Hey, I'll sign him up for a law enforcement run tennis program so he can go interact with these cops and, in an informal setting, you know, as opposed to Scared Straight, where they bring the kids into the prison and scare them to death. Not going to do that because that might give them a bad impression of cops. No, I'm gonna bring him into a law enforcement run tennis program. So here's her son right here, 12-year-old kid, autistic. His name is Curtis Hayes. She signed him up for an after school tennis program run by the Richmond Police Athletic League. Okay. So she's signing him up because, like I said, all the negativity he sees on TV, she wants to give him a different perspective. But on November 3rd, she showed up to the tennis courts to see Curtis on the ground and in handcuffs. So she comes to pick him up or whatever, showed up there. And here's her boy, her 12-year-old autistic kid that she's trying to teach that cops are good too, on the ground, cuffed. They got a 12-year-old kid handcuffed, 12-year-old autistic kid handcuffed. She said that she took him to the university's emergency room where he was later diagnosed with a concussion. So not only did they cuff this kid, they did something to him so violently that he was got a concussion. A concussion is where your brain hits against the side of your head so hard that it injures your brain. You can hit your head and it doesn't mean you get a concussion from it. When you hit your head really hard and it causes your brain to go against your skull, that's a concussion. So it's not just like, running into a door. It's not just like something falling out of the cabinet onto your head. I mean, this is You have to do something pretty extreme to get a concussion, from what I know about him. I've had 2 concussions. She said the staff told her Curtis was becoming frustrated by his tennis serves, and they asked him to practice to the side of everyone else. So they didn't like the way he was acting, so they told him, "Get out of here, go over there." Which is, classic police maneuver, classic cop. You're not doing exactly what we tell you to do, so you're going to get punished. We're going to hurt you. This is the cop mentality. Cop mentality is not forgiveness. The cop mentality is not understanding. The cop mentality is not nurturing. The cop mentality is not cooperating. The cop mentality is not sharing. The cop mentality is not reaching out to someone with some humanity. The cop mentality is do exactly what I tell you to do, or there's going to be consequences. I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to take you to jail. I'm going to lock you up. I'm going to handcuff you. I'm going to beat you. I'm going to tase you. I'm going to shoot you. So in this case, it was, you know, you're not serving, you're not acting like we want you to act. Go over there by yourself. Jackson said Curtis told her that a female officer raised her voice at him and he began to walk away. So the cop is getting frustrated with the autistic kid, raises her voice. Now, the officer grabbed the 12-year-old kid because to the officer, it looked like the kid's disrespecting her, walking away, right? And you don't do that you do exactly what a cop tells you to do. You listen to a cop, you better do what they say. You better respect them. You better respect their authority. Because if you don't, what's going to happen? They're going to hurt you. See, it takes a certain type of this is the mom. It takes a certain type of person to become a cop. Most people say, no, I don't know. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to become a cop. Being a police officer are takes a certain type of personality, and that is one of power tripping. Most cops take the job so they can specifically hold power over you. Most of them. Most of them take the job because they can be respected. They have a badge. They have a gun. They can be respected. Phone's ringing. So anyway, in this particular case, the kid walked away. See if it's important. Nope. Phone solicitor. So the cop once again takes a job because they want to be in power. They want to tell you what to do. They want to have something lording over you. They want to be in control of you, not just them, of you. See, I mean, if some person wants to, be in their own house and be in control of their shelves and how their spices are all stacked together, what meat's in what section. Hey, it's fine. But don't come to my house and tell me how to do it. But these cops, that's one thing they thrive on is control and power. So the kid's walking away, right? And the mom says, when I got there, my son was handcuffed on the ground right behind where the fence is opened. There was an officer holding his head. There was an officer on his left leg, someone on his right leg, And there was an officer on his right side kneeling, holding his shoulders down, and there was another officer standing up. So they got 5 cops on a 12-year-old kid. They got 5 cops on a 12-year-old kid, and they got him handcuffed. He's on the ground. Because once again, if you don't do exactly what we tell you to do, we're going to hurt you. There's a little video of some cops jumping on somebody. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, what the fuck? What the? Let's go back. Oh. See, there's 4 cops right there jumping on a guy. He was on the sidewalk filming or something. There you go. So now imagine them doing that to this 12-year-old kid. Now the cops claim Richmond police told Jackson that Curtis head butted an officer when he was in their custody, and they cuffed him thinking he would run away. So supposedly he was in their custody, meaning they've already got the guy restrained, and he quote unquote attempted to headbutt one of them. So they cuffed him. They restrained him further. So he's already being, hey, you got to calm down. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to follow our orders. And he supposedly headbutted him, tried to headbutt one of them, or did. They put him in cuffs. It was the handcuffs that made Jackson apoplectic, not understanding why a 12-year-old special needs child was treated that way. Well, let me help you understand it, Sheila. Cops don't care about you. Cops don't care about your kid. Cops don't care about anybody in their community except themselves and their buddies. Okay? Cops are not here to help you. Cops don't care if your kid has special needs. Cops don't care about any of that. She has spoken to police officials and paid for a police report, but the report had no description of the incident, and no one has given her a satisfactory answer. This is another key part of of policing. They're never held accountable. They're never held accountable. The police, first off and foremost, we don't know if the kid headbutted anybody. And how are you ever going to prove that he did or didn't? You're not. The only thing you have is the cop's word. It's just like when they pull you over and they go, "Oh, I smell marijuana." How are you, as a guy who's a victim of that, right, ever going to prove in a court of law that the cop didn't smell weed? How are you ever going to prove that? You're never going to be able to. You're never going to be able to prove whether or not the cop smelled weed or not. So if he searches your car, he finds nothing. He has you on the road for 2 hours. He brings out a dog. He inconveniences you. He makes you miss your class, your work, whatever, makes you get fired. Doesn't matter. If you take the guy to court and you go, well, he didn't smell weed. Look, there was no weed. The jury's going to go, well, he may have thought he smelled weed. How are you ever going to prove the guy didn't smell weed? You're not going to be able to. Now, there's no on the police report, there's no description of the incident, and no one has given her any kind of answers to what happened. So how are we going to know that the kid headbutted an officer? We're not. We're never going to know. So what kind of recourse does this woman have? None. Because the judge, whoever's the jury's going to look at the police report and go, well, there's nothing in here about somebody, headbutting somebody. There's nothing in here about, the kid being handcuffed. There's nothing in here about, him being restrained. There's nothing in here about somebody, so we don't know if it even happened. So this woman is absolutely helpless, and you, me, and everybody else are helpless against these cops. Here's the kid again. So once again, police are not here to help you, even in an off-duty capacity of hosting a tennis clinic, of hosting a tennis program, even in an off-duty capacity, they're still not even here to help you. So I guess that, I she might, I mean, her uncle's a cop. She might still have a positive attitude towards cop, but this kid who was taken to a law enforcement run tennis program to give him a positive view of cops probably doesn't have the best view of cops at this point.